Alright, so we're going to go here with the Saheeli cat combo, Saheeli kitten, sorry. For those of you who don't know, if we have, Displace a Kitten and Quicksilver Lapidary on the field, we can make infinite Mox Opals. Now if we have Saheeli in that mix, we can make infinite attacking creatures, or we can do other shenanigans like that. Basically, Saheeli frees up the Displace a Kitten for other synergies that we could possibly show you in this video if they go off. Aside from that, we are running, so the essentials of the combo is Saheeli, Displace a Kitten, Quicksilver, Lapidary. Everything else is gravy. We're running with the Niv package, so we have Blood Red Elf for Cascade value, and I want to play this card again. Growth of Spiral for ramp, Voice of Resurgence, new edition. Let's see how it does. Lightning Helix for removal and weenie. Assassin's Trophy for removal. Invasion of Argus. Basically it's a solid edict, but also if we can establish the loop, for whatever reason, if we can't attack, if we've had to do it main phase 2 or something, we can utilize this, constantly blinking it with a cat to make infinite. There's some interesting lines, and Vanishing Verse to remove things. Here's our mana base. Sideboard, we have some Fort Erasure and Drown in the Loch, and then we have a collection of charms I wanted to try out. Actually, that's a good point. We need to go down 2 of these. And I'm not sure about the current situation in Explorer, so we'll put in 2 Clarions into the sideboard. Live deck checking while we're on here. So this is it. We're going to play it in casual and see if we can establish the combo once. So wish us luck. Deck list below. Alright, Saheeli Kitten time. First opponent here with Tyler. Let's see if we can actually pull off this combo. This hand doesn't do a lot, but we'll see what we got against it. Still not too familiar with the historic metagame. All I know is... I know this is Vampires. So let's keep his board state down. Force him to sack a creature. We are flooding a little bit, which is quite concerning. We have all our colours, so now we just want action. Well, we can Vanishing Verse the Cordial Vampire. Invasion of Asgul, force another edict on the player. Dusk Legion Duelist, new from Much Machine, and a Lord. We get the Blood Red Elf, which is one of our favourites. We get an Assassin's Trophy, so we'll take out the Dusk Legion Duelist. Here, I want to get rid of the Lord, so what I was going to do is I'm going to declare my attack on the invasion, thinking that flipping the invasion is part of my game plan, to see if I can force my opponent to block. Now, I don't know if they just block out of thing, but, trading a Lord for that is fair. They have Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord. They +1 him. We find more lands, so let's grab Gigantha. Vona comes down. Remember when they actually put effort into their actual animations? Let's throw down Gigantha as a blocker here. Or sacrifice fodder if Vona has to tap. Joanna gets Gigantha's ability, that's pretty cool. Our opponent plus is we lose Gigantha here. We find a Lightning Helix, we cycle. We find a land, we cycle again. We find another land. And I can see it at this point. We're just too far behind. The Helix can't really kill anything, even the Planeswalker. So let's go to bring in Clarion. Let's take out a Kitten and we'll go down 1 Assassin's Trophy, because ramping a low to the ground, low land deck is pretty bad. Right, this hand is terrible. So we got another land heavy hand here, but we'll keep this 6 definitely. Put a Fable to the bottom. Triome Opener. They play a Knight of the Dusk Legion, so we'll Helix this before it can grow. Bit awkward here because we can't grow Spiral on turn 2. Vampire of the Dire Moon and Indulgent Aristocrat come down. We'll drop a Ketra Triome. Our opponent gets up to 3 mana. This is scary territory for vampires. They play a Markov Baron. Oh, the new Lord from Much Machine. We find a Niv off the top, which is great for us. So let's crack this Fable, because I want to use the Blood Red Elf here. Well, it's a little awkward here. I could Growth Spiral to guarantee that I have Niv next turn. But I think I'd rather have a blocker here with Blood Red Elf. And I'll place Saheeli here, because Saheeli is perfect as a distraction. Because our opponent will probably go with the old, oh my god, a Planeswalker, we have to kill it. By the way, try that in Commander. It's an absolutely brilliant strategy. Drana, Liberator of Malakir, comes down. They send one creature into Saheeli, so we'll block trade. We'll play another tap land here and plus Saheeli again. Scry a land to the bottom. Yes, allies is my favourite type. They get a welcoming vampire onto the battlefield here, so we're going to growth spiral. We draw another growth spiral. And depending on how they attack, they send 2 at Saheeli, so we'll take out the Lord here. Saheeli goes down to 3, we find another land, so we'll drop that and play Niv Mizzet. Get a reload on. We find a very solid 6 here. Now we just need to displace a Kitten and we would have the combo in hand. I'm going to keep the land on top here because I want to cast as many spells as possible next turn. Our opponent here sees that we have a Clarion but then plays into the board. I think they were thinking that the Lord effect would save them, however, obviously the Clarion applies the damage, then wipes out. We have lifelink on Niv now, so we'll gain some life. Saheeli here, I'm just digging for the combo to try and pull it off. However, I don't want to appear like a bad word to this opponent, so I'm going to keep putting pressure on him as if we were playing 100% competitively. So I'll use Invasion of Asgul here to take down the Dust Legion Duelist. Plus Saheeli again. Well, we found another Quicksilver. Taking that 1 copy out has really hurt us here. Actually, I go and flip the Invasion here to see what that does, because I want just more things on the board here. They play a Legion's Landing, and they play a Sorin Imperious Bloodlord. Use the sacrifice effect to kill the Ashen Rider. We'll plus Saheeli again. We find another land, so scry that away. We're going to use Bloodbraid Elf. We find a Voice of Resurgence, which is a very fun addition to this deck. Alright. Get another land out. Kill the Sorin and swing in with a hasty Bloodbraid. We've got this match pretty much on lock here. Our opponent plays a Vampire of the Dire Moon. We're just going to keep plussing Saheeli here. Wow. We'll attack in the air here. We have him dead next turn on the swing, so I just want to... Oh, but they have a pile on to take out our Niv here. Never thought I'd see Convoke Vampires. It's very cool synergy. Scry a Clarion to the bottom. We're still just looking for that combo piece here. I'm going to put Jagannatha in hand and play it. I don't want to crack the Fables because I don't want to shuffle our cards again. So, Voice of Resurgence puts them down to 5, so they are dead now to our attack here. They have a Vona. So this is a 4 lifelinker. Plus, I'll put the Bloodbraid to the bottom. They go down to 4. I swing in here. They block Voice, so I thought they were dead here. However, I forgot that Vona does naturally have lifelink, so they go up to 3. They play a land, get another life. They're up to 4 here. They draw, putting him down to 3. So I don't want to appear like a bad person here. So what I'm going to do is just copy the Elemental token and play the Quicksilver to pump it to a lethal all-out swing here. So we didn't get the combo in here. This is an early build, as I said, so we're not too consistency. I'm playing the Chomps for fun. I bring in the third Displacer Kitten here because I really want to try and hit the combo. And I take out one of the Bloodbraid Elves, which is a shame because I do love the Bloodbraid Elf, but I do want to hit this combo. There are other lines which we demonstrate in this match, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Opponent is going first. This is a completely unkeepable hand because every spell requires red or more mana than we have. This is super risky, but I want to keep it because I put Voice at the bottom because we don't have green or white, but this literally needs just one card to do the combo here. So we'll play our Xander's Lounge. They hit us with an Indulgent Aristocrat. We now have enough mana, we have all of our colours thanks to our 2 Fable Passages now. Our opponent has a little think about what to do here. Plays their third land. Drops a veto for one of the Dusk Roads. Very cool card. Very good in the incidental lifelink deck, like vampires. Let's get a white out so that with the Dragon Skull we can Clarion next turn. Opponent hits us for 1 here. Eventually, there we go. We lose 1 from the veto. And we'll use Clarion to wipe the board here. They scry with their temple, and they have a Sorin here. But they just plus it up, so they don't drop a creature in, which is good for us. Alright, so if Bloodbraid can hit the Mox generator here, we have the combo. We don't hit it, we've managed to draw, well, more basics. So we'll attack Sorin down here, put it down to 2. They pile on it to keep the Sorin on the field. That's 1. So we Voice of Resurgence, play Saheeli. We plus Saheeli again to keep scrying. We are desperately looking for that interaction here. They play a Legion's Landing. They sacrifice it to kill the Voice, which makes the 1/1. However, we can do the same line we did before. We're going to use this Fable to get our last basic out of our deck. Play our Displacer Kitten. Use Saheeli to copy the elemental token, so we now have incidental damage to kill Sorin. Put your Gamfer into hand just to have something to do here. They play a Knight of the Ebon Legion. And they have a pylon to kill Saheeli. We draw the Lightning Helix, so we'll take out the Knight of the Ebon Legion here. We'll play a Gigantha, hit him for 5. They play a Vona, so we're going to attack in here with Gigantha. They don't block, they go down to 14. We'll play a second Displacer Kitten so that our elemental token can block Vona. We have a Lightning Helix in hand here, so we'll go to combat, attack with both our Gigantha and token. Interesting, they block like this because I didn't realize Indulgent Aristocrat can sack itself. So he sacks Indulgent Aristocrat after blocks, which makes Vona a 5/5, which is a very good block here. Fortunately though, we have a Helix to kill it on the end step. We'll use a Displacer Kitten trigger to just do some blinky shenanigans for fun, to show off the ability. They play a Cruel Celebrant. We find Invasion of Asgul here, so we'll force them to sack this Cruel Celebrant. Incidentally, they'll gain life and lose life. We'll hit them for 8. They play a Mox. We find it. So here, with 2 Displacer Kittens, Quicksilver Laboratory, and Invasion of Asgul here, this is also another one of our infinites. So using the 2 triggers, we blink Invasion and Quicksilver Laboratory. Now, Invasion has a trigger of 1 life loss, which even if they don't sacrifice anything, they still lose 1 life. So they incidentally take a damage. So as you can see here, I just do this for a bit to demonstrate the loop. We cast a Mox, use the 2 flicker triggers to flicker our 2 targets. Incidentally, we end up basically making a loop where we could kill our opponent out of nowhere here, even through a massive board. But ultimately, as I said, I do this to get him down to 5, then I swing in because I didn't want to make the poor guy wait because we're at the end of our set, and I appreciate him for letting me do this, so thank you for letting me pull this off. So, not the Saheeli Kitten, but the Kittens did combo in this match, which was really fun. Alright, we got our second match here with Siko Verteria. I can't talk, whatever that is. This hand is questionable, but I decided to keep it because we have some interaction. Blue-black off the bat, so I'm praying it's not rogues. We'll just drop lands. They foretell a card, so this just 100% confirms to me this is a control deck. So we are going to be playing a long game here of Pasco. The main issue is here we don't have anything that really can just stick down. So I decide I'm just going to play the Quicksilver, because the odds of us pulling off the combo against a control deck is pretty much a 0, because their hand will be stacked with counter, kill, like we see here, Infernal Grasp. So we just gotta go for them here. So we're now a burn deck. Considering we just drew our third Lightning Helix, we could be a burn deck. We go to their end step, they're struggling for lands themselves, so we'll just keep Lightning Helix them. Move and pass back. End step, we'll Lightning Helix them again, put them down to 9, play our land. As I said before, we're just going to wait till they try to resolve a threat here. They sacrifice another land, we don't really have anything to do here. I just played Displacer Kitten to just get interaction out of their hand. They use Disdainful Stroke. Since they haven't played lands, it's clear that all 7 cards in their hand must be some form of interaction, so we'll play the Invasion of Asgul here. Does them a damage. I'm holding this Mox Opal pretty much for no reason. They play a Crawling Barons. We had a Voice of Resurgent, which is the dream against control decks. But they do have the counter spell for it because we drew it late. So we'll put Gigantor into hand here and pass the turn back. They're up to 5 mana and still doing nothing. We just keep making our land drops, throwing spells at them here. Basically, as dumb as this may sound, against control, this is kind of what you have to do. You just have to throw your resources at them, hope they burn theirs, and eventually you should come out on top. They use Siphon Insight to steal a card from us. We resolve a Voice of Resurgence, which is good for us. It should keep them from doing any shenanigans on our end step until they kill it. They use Growth Spiral. They use Blood Cheese first to kill it, but we get the token. We find a Niv here, so I'm just going to attack them with the 1/1 because I'm trying to force them to do something here. They use Siphon Insight. Steal another card. They play Professor Onyx, so this is where resolving the Niv could happen. In response, we're going to start putting shenanigans on them because they've kept up a counter spell, but we have double removal, so we'll just get rid of it. Because, you know, while we can, until a control player goes, where I want an uncounterable, unstoppable, can't be killed, protection, 1 ring planeswalker for my control deck. We reload with Niv here. We find Blood Braid, which is another great spell to have against a control deck here. So they are dead here to our current board if they don't answer it. They have a Meathook Massacre, which kills off everything we have. But they have to tap out. So we do have an opening here, so we draw with Thing. And here's where Saheeli shines. So we use Bloodbraid Elf here. We find a Vanishing Verse, so we'll get rid of the Meathook for the sake of getting rid of the Meathook. And then we can Saheeli, make another hasty 3/2 with the Bloodbraid Elf, and swing in for lethal. This is a very dangerous situation to be in, because this is making me want to put Saheeli back in all my 60 card decks, because I remember how much fun I had here. So yeah, as you can see, just like we do in Ranked, hammer in all the control counters and interactions. I'm trying to consider what to take out here. Ultimately, I decided the Helix, because while it was great in that matchup, I don't think it'll do that good, and I trimmed down on the combo and a couple of invasions. As I said before, the odds of pulling off the combo here are very low. Like, our best chance is to out mid-range him. Well, this was a terrible 6, so we've got to go down to 5 here. So I'm going to get rid of 2 cards, and I'm going to choose to get rid of 1 land here and a Saheeli, because Saheeli is going to just eat a counter early game against our opponent. They have 2 lands in hand, so we'll use Void Erasure here. They negate that. Play a land. We drop another tap land. Again, pretty awkward with our colours here. We have a Voice of Resurgence here, so I'm trying to decide whether I could do Voice of Resurgence both. So I'm considering what colour to grab here. I'm going to use Bloodbraid Elf because it's potentially 2 spells they might have to answer, but we hit the Mystical Dispute off the top. They have the power word kill. We'll play this tap land. I choose to pass here, which I think was a mistake. I should have... Oh, I couldn't run it out. Yeah, that's why I didn't do it. My bad. I forgot my mana base. So I'd play the Voice of Resurgence now. They go for Memory Deluge. I consider forcing them to tap out, but there's really no... It stops them getting 2 cards. It doesn't stop them even getting 2 cards. It forces them to tap out, which doesn't do much for us. They Blood Cheese first, so we're going to Drown and Lock that. Force them to use another 2 spells to clear this board. Hit them with the Voice of Resurgence. Now, one thing we can do here, which is great, they use Soul Shatter, which proves to me that they do not have a great slew of removal here. Is we can use Assassin's Trophy to kill off their Crawling Barons, which seems to be their way that they are trying to win this game, which is pretty funny to us here. So we'll attack for 1. They tap out for Crawling Barons, so we'll send a message with the Assassin's Trophy. This is why I love running the trophy over the thing that would find us the combo quicker, because it answers lands which the control player uses their win cons. We draw another Assassin's Trophy here, which is great. So we attack in for 1 again. Opponent taps up for Memory Deluge here. We're going to use our Izzet Charm to counter that, to keep them down on cards. They play a Professor Onyx. They +1 it, so I'm going to use the Assassin's Trophy here, see if it resolves, which it does. Which signifies they probably don't have counter magic. Play another land. I consider putting Gigantha into hand here, but I'm going to attack with the 1/1 again. They play Irmatar. Desert Doom. We'll get a land here. We have double Niv here, so we might as well just run it out. So first Niv comes down, finds us a good slew of spells here. In fact, a full 6 spells. We can't take out that dragon because it has ward. They have Soul Shatter here. On their turn, they activate a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. They go to combat, will kill the Hive. They get land. They don't attack him with the dragon. So we play the Voice here because it will force our opponent to have another action. We're going to use the Invasion here to kill the Emmet if they don't animate the land, which they didn't. And we'll use Bloodbraid to just get another threat on the table, but we hit the Mystic Dispute again. And then we swing in for 6 here. Now they activate the Hive of the Eye Tyrant and they trade it for the Bloodbraid Elf, putting them down to 10. Tap a land here, we draw a 3rd Niv, which is crazy, so let's just play a Niv here, it resolves. We only hit 2 cards, but they're good answers to a lot of things we might have to deal with. We attack and put our opponent down to 5. We try to play Saheeli here, but one of their 2 cards is in the gate, but that gives us another elemental token. They have a Shadow's Verdict, and then they use a Professor Onyx here to force us to sacrifice. However, we have a Niv Mizzet here, and we hit a Saheeli, so we can use Saheeli the same as we did in the previous game to make a hasty 6/6 Dragon Flyer, get an additional reload, and swing in for lethal. So again, Saheeli pulling her weight even without the combo. So we had one game where the cat went off and one game where Saheeli won us the match. Our final game here is to show really what I ran into a lot of while I was testing. And that is basically Rakdos or Grixis One Ring decks. And this is just basically the proof. I genuinely believe that I hadn't built the deck with a way to kill the One Ring. And I am at the point now where I've got to try and figure out a way to get rid of it. Because it just feels like you are ultimately going to lose these games with how many cards they can draw off this thing. And genuinely with these blue-black decks, they draw into their Fort Season, their Disruption, they draw into their other effects like that. So as impactful as it is, yeah, I genuinely, like, this is a Grixis, what is this deck again? It's a Grixis, like, Dredge reanimated deck that just uses the One Ring instead of the Dredge cards to draw excess amounts of cards. But it's like you say here, like, we're never going to win now. They drew like 6 cards off that ring. So the only hope I have is to counter it, or, well, that's it basically. Because once the One Ring hits the field, it's pretty much over with the current build of this deck. In hindsight, I've got to look for a solution. But from what I can see from online, it's not... It's a pretty much shared concession that this One Ring is stupid. Right, again, we keep a dodgy hand here. Literally, I'm keeping this hand for the premise of trying to maybe stop them going off with an Izzet Charm here. But they naturally have the early disruption. And yeah, this is how the game's going to go, I'm afraid. One of the biggest problems as well with this deck is I can't let them resolve the One Ring because they ultimately win the game. But at the same time, I'm just dead to their board as it currently is, in spite of anything I do here. And they know I have the counter, so they're not going to run out the One Ring here. I'll use Growth Spiral here. They play their land, play another land, Growth Spiral. We find a Niv. They didn't play the One Ring, so I have to take the chance that maybe they don't have it, because I'm pretty much dead either way here. So, yep, I'm just going to play my land, play Niv Mizzet. He enters the battlefield. We find a few cards that could help us out. And then ultimately we just got to pass back. They have a big boy, and they have the One Ring, so we've just lost this match, so unfortunately concede. Hope you enjoyed them.